right, now this comes to the third door, which is, are you open to share? And in the associated presentation with that is the business overview. It's a very specific presentation about how the income in doTERRA works. Now, the way that you get to this presentation, of course, as we had described in the tutorial about the membership overview, it leads you to that question, to ask that question if they want to learn or if they're open to the idea of creating an income with doTERRA, and would they like to see how the money works when I schedule a business overview. However, I have found that the business overview can be scheduled before then as well. Like in the buyer's guide. The buyer's guide asks the question, are they open to the idea of creating an income with doTERRA as well? And if they do say that they would love to learn about the money, then this presentation can be a step, and it can come at
whenever the person's ready.
Right. When they're ready to learn about how the income is made, or they have an interest in the business, this is where I take them to, because this really brings them in.
Yeah. So the business overview. What I like to do is first read the cover. The cover has a story here called Buckets, Pipelines, and Essential Oils. And I'll have them read it, or I'll read it to them, but it talks about the guy that hauled buckets of water and then created a pipeline. And then at the very end of the story, it says, are you hauling buckets or are you creating a pipeline? This business overview will demonstrate how simply sharing essential oils with others can help you create a financial pipeline. And so this is a lot of times the first time people have become aware of the difference between bucket money and pipeline money. And it's something that's really intriguing to people once they kind of get that. So once we do that, then I'll open up the business overview. And on page 1, it's right at the top, it says, okay, well then why make doTERRA your pipeline? So when people are familiar with the idea of this pipeline making money, then it's like, okay, maybe I can make pipeline money in different arenas. Why would I use doTERRA? And that gets, and so I explain the unique benefits of doTERRA. Let me explain these a little bit to you. So first of all, there's unlimited earning potential. No matter how much you want to make, you can make it if you're willing to do the work. The second is that there's a high retention rate. And you'll see over on the right-hand side that there are some bullet points that help demonstrate this. For example, doTERRA has 3 times the industry average retention rate. There's a 65% of doTERRA's customers order regularly, and 74% of doTERRA's customers order at least once annually. And this compared to the industry is astounding. Like I said, over at least 3 times higher than the rest of the industry, which makes this all possible. Product sales are independent of opportunity. What that means is that because 74% of everybody who's ever signed up in doTERRA orders, however, 82% of everybody who has ever signed up has never enrolled another person. And what that means is that most of the people who are ordering are doing it simply because they love the product, not because they're part of an opportunity. And so the fact that product sales are independent of the opportunity, meaning that if I was in a different company and I was only buying the product because I was interested in the opportunity, then the minute that I'm no longer interested in the opportunity, what's the first thing I stop buying? The product, which means that the whole dream of it becoming a pipeline isn't even a reality. And so when I explain that to them, these are very unique value propositions that only doTERRA offers. And then we talk about how it's a new opportunity. This company was founded in 2008, and yet it's such a stable and reliable opportunity. It's a debt-free company with no outside funding. The founders aren't going to take the company public. They're in this for the long run. And so that's going to create a very stable, reliable opportunity for us.
Now, the next thing that we explain is that doTERRA has 5 different ways of creating money for you. And the first is retail. And we point out there that you earn 25% because that's the span, that's the margin between retail and wholesale. Now, we also point out at this point that you have a retail website. And it's listed there, mydoterra.com/whatever name they enrolled with. And that's where they can send people if those people want to order product, and then they'll earn 25%. However, we like to ask the question between each one of these 5 income levels. Now, is this a bucket or a pipeline? So, Seth, is retail selling, is that bucket income or is that pipeline income?
Well, that's a bucket.
That's buckets. That's bucket money, and bucket money be bad. And so that's why we've only given an inch of space to it. Okay?
Yeah.
And again, I think both of us have been in the business, for many years. And
Because 5-6 years is so long.
years. And in that process, we've only sold a few $100s
Yeah,
in retail.
hardly made anything in that.
Right.
The reason why is because it's bucket money. It's not something that we're
Right. It's not
we're desperate to get in. Not desperate to go from bucket hauling job to a bucket hauling job.
Right. Remember, you're not selling oils; you're marketing memberships. and so this is about a membership and setting up memberships and earning commission long term or repetitively each month from customers that reorder the product. Right. And so now the next bonus is a little better. This one's called a Fast Start bonus. Basically, if you enroll someone, you'll earn 20% of the volume that they order over the first 60 days of their new account. And if that person goes out and enrolls someone, and that person orders product, then you'll earn 10% of that activity. And if that happens again on the third generation, you'll earn 5% on that person's orders over the next 60 days of their new account. And so, Seth, is that a bucket or a pipeline?
Well, this one is actually both, although most people kind of go, I can't really tell, and it's because this is the only one where it's actually both.
Right.
So the 20% is a bucket because you went out, you worked, you put in some effort, you found a customer, and you received a commission that lasted 60 days. That's a bucket. But the 10 and the 5%, those are the enrollments of other people, and those continue. And so, I mean, even though I don't enroll a lot all the time, I receive Fast Start checks every week because of the Fast Start bonus.
Right. And to receive this bonus, you need to maintain a loyalty reward order of at least 100 points. This bonus is paid over the first 60 days of your new account. So, for example, I've been in the business now for 6 years as of this recording, and if I enrolled a new person today, for the next 60 days, I would earn that Fast Start bonus.
On anything they buy.
On anything that new account buys. So that's how that works. Now the third bonus is called the Power of Three, and again, these are each separate income, each separate ways to earn from doTERRA. The Power of Three bonus basically looks like this. If you maintain 100 PV or more, then you're qualified to earn it. And then if you have 3 accounts on your front line, you're enrolled directly underneath you, that are maintaining 100 points, and whatever other orders you have on that front line, if the cumulative total is $600 in sales, 600 PV, between you and your front line, 3 active accounts on your front line, then that was called the Power of Three. And the company will send you a $50 check every month that occurs. Now, if you help those 3 people do the same thing, if they build a Power of Three, then you'll get a $250 check. And if you do that again on the third generation, you can get a $1,500 check every month. Now, just a little tip, word for the wise. If you build this under people that want to create an income with doTERRA, it's much easier to create this bonus.
It takes care of itself, yeah.
Right.
The way you get that is you make sure to enroll 3 people who are really interested in building the business on your front line.
Right. And if you have that, then the Power of Three will most likely fall in place.
And this one is a pipeline.
And this is a pipeline, right? The bucket or pipeline, definitely a pipeline.
Okay. The fourth one, I love the fourth one. This is so good to me. But this is the Unilevel, and the Unilevel is the way that this one works is that it starts off being your smallest check, but it eventually ends up to be your largest portion of your check. And the way that this works,
and eventually your overwhelming check.
Yes, exactly. So the way that the Unilevel works is that you get paid on 7 levels of referrals. So if I were to enroll someone who enrolled 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 someone, you're going to get paid 7 levels deep. Now, the percentage that you make on each level, if you look to the left of those 7 levels down, you'll notice that you make 2% on level 1, 3% on level 2, 5% of all the volume happening on levels 3 and 4, 6% on levels 5 and 6, and then 7% of all the volume on level 7. Now, let's assume that you built a team that grew by 3. So you enrolled 3 people, they enrolled 3 people, and they enrolled 3 people. So what would happen is on your front line, you'd have 3 people. If those 3 each enrolled 3, you'd have 9 on level 2, 27 on level 3, 81 on level 4, 243 on level 5, 729 on level 6, and then 2,187 people on level 7. Now, if each of these people were ordering about 150 PV, you can look over to the right and see what the dollar amount you would receive in Unilevel commission each month if that were the case. Now, and you can see how that check will grow, starting small at $9, but upwards of $32,000 per month. Now, if you were to reverse this, because this is very unique to doTERRA, how they start with 2% at the top and then have that grow to 7% at the bottom. Most companies I've ever seen that use a Unilevel pay scale do it the exact opposite, where they'll pay 7% at the top and they'll pay
or they'll pay the highest level.
Or they'll pay the highest percentage at the top, and then it slowly gets smaller as it goes. Well, if we did that with the exact same size organization, with the exact same amount of volume, you would earn almost $20,000 less with a different compensation plan. You'll notice you'll make a little bit more to begin with, but not eventually. And when you include the power of three, then doTERRA's compensation plan's phenomenal. I always say I love the Unilevel. If it was a woman, I'd marry it. I love it that much. It's so awesome. In fact, Jenny is my Unilevel. But anyway, so that is how the Unilevel works.
All right. One of my favorite bonuses in the company is called the Leadership Bonus Pool. And this is the fifth way that you can earn income. And basically, what doTERRA does is every month they take 6% of the entire gross volume that's sold worldwide, and they divide it between 5 different pools. 2% is reserved for those leadership ranks of silver, gold, and platinum. Silvers get 1 share, golds get 5, and platinums get 10 shares in this pool. And then however many golds, silvers, and platinums are in the pool is divided by how much volume is in the pool, 2% of global volume, and that becomes the value of those shares. It's like having a dividend in the company, only you don't have ownership, you just get the cash flow, which is the most important part of a dividend, right? Is the income side. Now, once you go diamond, you enter a new pool. You go out of the leadership pool and you go into the diamond performance pool. And the diamond pool is 1% of the company divided between the 3 upper diamond ranks. And then each individual diamond rank has 1% of the company dedicated to it. So 1% of the entire global sales goes in, and only diamonds get from the diamond pool, only blue diamonds get from the blue diamond pool, and only presidentials get from the presidential diamond pool. And this is like having a dividend in the company. And it allows me to operate globally and train all over the place without a lot of reserve of who I'm training, simply because if I can increase the volume of the company globally, I'm getting a share or a dividend of that and sharing it with my fellow leaders.
Yeah, and all of this, if you take these 5 different levels of compensation and you combine them, then every month I'm getting a check, and that check has a combination of all 5 ways of getting paid. And so the way that a lot of times when you show people these bonus pools and they go, well, how do I get into those pools? Because obviously you're making a lot of money if you get into those pools. And so that's where the last page of this comes in handy. And so what I like to do is just explain to them how the ranks work. And so the first rank is executive, and I'll explain to them, if you, again, I'm kind of a broken record here, but if you read the bullet points, it talks about how PV means personal volume resulting from your own purchases, but OV is overall sales volume produced by your entire organization. And so when you see an executive, and it's in order to become an executive, you need 2,000 of overall volume, which is about $2,000 of total sales happening on your team that month.
In a single month.
In a month. And then as an elite, then it would just go up to 3,000. And then Premier is 5,000. You'll notice, though, that there starts to become a structure requirement. And what this means is that if you're a Premier, you have 5,000 in volume, but you have to have 2 teams that are executive. So of that 5,000, at least 2,000 needs to be in 2 separate teams. And so, for example, if you signed up 1 person, and that 1 person did 10,000 in volume, you would still technically be an elite until You add a second team that's doing at least 2,000 in volume, then you would be a premier. Now, these three ranks of executive, elite, and premier make up every other rank in the company. So you look at silver here, and a silver has three teams, three leaders on their team that are elite. So the overall sales volume would be 9,000 in total sales because you have three teams that have $3,000 of OV in them each. Now, the average income of a silver is $2,200 per month, and that $2,200 a month consists of all 5 ways of getting paid. And that's your average silver income.
Right. Remember, the average means half make less and half make more.
Yeah. So I know silvers that make less than that. I know silvers that make a lot more than that. So
Right.
It just depends on how large the team is, of course. Now, a gold is the next rank, and those 3 people who were elite have now progressed to be premier. And so if you were to say, well, how much overall volume would be in a gold? At least 3 teams of 5,000 of OV would be a 15,000 OV organization, but the average income of a gold would be $4,900 per month. Platinum, those 3 teams now reach the rank of silver, and the average income of a platinum looks like it's just jumped up to $9,580 per month. Diamonds, you have 4 silvers, so you add a 4th team, and that team has hit silver, and the average income of a diamond is $17,000 per month. A blue diamond has 5 teams that are at least gold, and your average blue diamond income is $38,500 per month. And then your presidential diamond has 6 platinum teams. So you've built 6 different teams that have reached the rank of platinum, and the average monthly income of a presidential diamond is $112,750.
And you know, the thing I really like about when I explain the ranks is to really emphasize that the way that you succeed in doTERRA is by helping other people to succeed. And so the whole model is just built on you achieving something and then helping somebody else achieve it. And so the motivating factor here, you can see that the motivators of the plan are designed for all kinds of people to be involved in your individual success, because you're important to several people's advancement and things like that. So it's really a great, probably one of the fairest business models I've ever seen.
One thing I love about it is that, like, you know, hitting presidential diamond, that means I'm going to help at least 6 people be at least platinum, which means that I have helped 6 people basically retire.
Right.
And so when I'm approaching someone about the business opportunity and I'm explaining that to them, they get that one of the best days of their life was when I showed up. Like,
Right.
It's like they got married, they had kids, and then the third best day was when I showed up and introduced them to this because of how it's going to change their life.
Right,
dramatically.
and for the one they married, the most important day was the day you showed up to them.
Exactly. And their kids.
Right. And so now when you get to the end of the business overview, then you just simply ask the question, what kind of doTERRA business do you want to create? And down at the bottom, there are 3 basic options. And that's, do you just want to earn free product? Or are you looking at creating a part-time business from home? Or are you striving to create full-time wealth? And then there's a little bit of indicators here of what that would mean. For example, going from consultant to elite, which is, you know, the base rank to about elite, you can get there with marginal involvement. You know, if you're basically engaged, you can get there. If you have 3 to 5 hours to dedicate each week, you know, over the course of time, you will eventually get there if you're going through all the steps. Now, to get to Premier and Gold, now these are a little more serious ranks, and you notice they have a little more serious income associated with them. And this would be a part-time business. I mean, this is a lot of most people within those ranks still have their full-time jobs, and they're still earning a living in other ways. But now they've decided to take a doTERRA business and build that part-time fortune as part-time, and so they'll have a more serious involvement. You know, 12 hours a week or more, and then over the course of a couple of years, they can achieve these ranks. But going from platinum, the ranks of platinum and diamond, this is full time. I mean, you know, this is a substantial number of people, but it also represents a very significant income. When you're talking these income levels, I mean, How many professions do you know actually earn these kinds of incomes? And so obviously the involvement, the engagement in the business is going to be significantly more, and it comes with more time. So for example, if you had 15 to 30 hours a week to invest in your business at a highly dedicated level, it isn't unforeseeable that over a couple of years you could achieve the rank of diamond and get into those significant incomes.
Yeah, I love about this is that you're just explaining this to them, asking them what do you want to accomplish, and here are some ideas of what it would take to be in those realms, and you're just letting
Setting
them choose, setting the right expectations. So on the last page, on the back of this, it has a doTERRA income disclosure sheet. This is and so if they want to see the official
where all those numbers came from,
where all the numbers came from, and all that.
Reported. doTERRA releases that each year in a report, and so that's included.
So that's how you do a business overview. I guess I just want to remind you that when you do it, this is all about posture. It's all about your commitment to this. If you want to commit people to do the business, then they can sense your commitment to the business. And so the more committed you are, the more committed they'll be, and the more excited they'll be to follow you in this.
Right. And the phrase that I like to express when training about that is to say that builders are attracted to leaders. So if you're trying to attract other people that want to build, then they're attracted to people that are leading. And leadership is going to be reflected by the level to which you prioritize your doTERRA business. If it's a low priority, then people will not view you as a leader, and it'll be harder to attract people that want to create a business out of it. If it's a high priority, then it will reflect in the commitment level that you have, and that basically reflects in, do you show up? Are you at the meetings? Are you on the calls? Do you go to the events? And are you inviting? And are you expressing to people that you're trying to invite into the business, your excitement, your enthusiasm about the business and what you're involved in? Like Seth and I were talking over lunch today about, we're like, well, what would we do if we weren't doing doTERRA?
We spent the entire lunch wondering what the heck we were doing.
Going over and over. It was like, what would we do? I don't know what we'd do. And eventually we realized that we don't want to do anything else.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything else.
And so that reflects in the level of priority that we put into business, and then it's no wonder that we're able to attract people that want to build.
Yeah. So good luck. We hope you find this helpful, and good luck with your business overviews.